What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Empty the Benches. Nick and Mac back from their holiday break to get back with you guys here. We got a lot to catch up on. NHL in full swing, World Juniors in full swing, and college hockey is picking up after taking a little bit of a break around the holidays. But first things first, Mac, I noticed you put out your always highly anticipated 25 top albums of the year today. You know, we are a huge music pod. Both you and I are big music guys. So I just wanted to see if you wanted to run through some of your highlights from that list this year, because it was a pretty damn good list, my friend.
Dude, this was one of the best music years we have had in a long time. Typically, when I'm putting together my annual top 25 albums of the year list around this time, it's like, okay, maybe I'll come up with like somewhere between like 25 and 30 albums that I think could be candidates, and then I'll narrow that group down to 25 and then order them. This time, I made my preliminary list, and I literally had like 40 albums that I felt like could maybe be on there. And I had to like axe like 15 of them or whatever. But a lot of good ones. If you're an NHL soundtrack guy, you'll recognize a couple. I had the new Pup album on my list. I had Turnstile was the number one on my list. So a couple of NHL soundtrack alums there, and I think there's a couple others in there too. But yeah, it was just a great year for music. And yeah, if you want to see the full list, you can go to my Instagram page, or you can go to my Twitter, which is at Brave Little Toaster.
That's right. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that Turnstile album being number one. That one is so good, and it's so replayable. Like it does not get old at all. Hasn't gotten old. Still well within my repertoire. But gonna put you on the hot seat here. Not albums, but if you had to pick one song from this year that's your favorite, what would you go with?
One song, that's always harder, and it would probably change based on what I just ate for lunch, what day of the week it is, what kind of mood I'm in. But if you ask me right now, gun to my head, I was kind of listening back to that Turnstile album today just to like remember what my favorite ones were, and I had to I always pick a favorite song off of each album too, so I'll just go with what I said was my favorite song off of my favorite album, which is "Look Out for Me" by Turnstile.
That is a great one. So you know, good to be back from the holiday break. How was your holiday? Always good to see you. You know, we get to link up a couple times, but how was the rest of your holiday festivities and everything?
It was good. It was busy. I mean, every time I come home, it's like I got so many people to see, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to go to Caps game here, Ravens game there, and so all that's good. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining at all because I'm blessed, but it gets a little tiring, and a lot of people get a nice restful holiday break. I wouldn't necessarily describe mine as restful, but that's okay. I'm still young and spry enough to enjoy it for now. So I had a great time. Like I said, caught 2 Caps games, Ravens game, and actually technically 2 Ravens games. I was at the Green Bay Ravens game here in Wisco a couple days ago. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was a good one to go to. They actually ran the damn ball, which was nice.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks that we brought the Caps either a ton of bad luck or I don't know what was going on there, but both games you and I were at, we were at the Red Wings one, and then we were at the Rangers one, and it was just a disaster. I mean, the Red Wings game was 5-0. The Rangers game was 7-3, I think, when they, added their 4 empty net goals or whatever it was, but
it was kind of like opposite games. Like we had no
really
start in the Red Wings game. We figured it out towards the end, but it was too little too late. The Rangers game, I felt like we played pretty well for the first 2 periods for the most part. And then, just kind of fell off in the third period. So that's annoying, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's never a fun thing. I mean, the Rags one, it was just so disappointing because going into that third period, you're like, all right, this is still a game. They're looking good. They go up, and then they give up not only the tying goal, but the goal to go behind by 1 within a span of like a minute and 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah, that always sucks. The highlight of that game was getting to see you and Bowens in between periods.
Yeah, and honestly should have just stayed on the concourse. And
I was having more fun just hanging out with you guys than watching that dog shit third period. So.
No, exactly. And I know you got some pretty good food before that. I checked out the Gordon Ramsay Burger Bar. I don't know if you've been to that spot.
I have not.
Really good burgers, really, really good beer pitcher deals too. I think they could do pitchers of Peroni for $18-20. So gotta love that.
Nice. Yeah, I went to a good little bar after I had a bite to eat. The bar, I'm gonna butcher the name. I want to say it was called like Stateside or something like
Okay.
that. It's like right outside Cap One. If you look up like Stateside or State Line or some shit like that, it'll come up, I'm sure. But good little like bar. It's literally just like a basement bar down the stairs under the ground. I was kind of surprised. Like it's almost like no one knew about it or something because
Right.
it's right before the game and there was like only a handful of people in there, but they had a great happy hour that goes till 6. So that might be my future pregame game day spot at Caps games.
Nice. Yeah, I love when you can find a spot that's not crazy. I feel like the
Yeah,
sports book is usually okay if you get there.
if you get there early enough. Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then you can, either grab a table or just like post up at the bar for a little bit. It does get crowded towards the start of the game because people will go in through there. But for the most part, I feel like if you can find like, a spot like that, like stateside, that's probably the way to go.
Yep. Absolutely.
A bunch of NHL housekeeping stuff to get to beforehand. We actually had 2 trades around the holiday, which I feel like we don't typically see, but
Yep.
this has kind of been the season of early trades. So Seattle sends Mason Marchment to Columbus. They get a second-round pick in 27 and a fourth-round pick in 26 on the way back. And then Philip Deneau to Montreal. Surprise of all surprises. LA gets a second-round pick in the 26th draft, and just a footnote, Deneau recently played for the Canadiens for 6 seasons from 2016 to 2021. Which of those deals do you like better?
They're both great, honestly. I mean, if I'm the Caps, I would have given up either of those things to get either of those players. I don't think either of those are that tall of an order to ask in return for Deneau or for Marchment, but especially the Marchment one. I mean, I think every team in the NHL would have happily said, sure, you could have a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick for Mason Marchment. That's, deal. Hang up the phone before you change your mind. That's a steal right there.
I think teams would have done 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I like what Columbus is doing. They're a little bit scary. They're kind of
Yeah.
like sneaky dangerous. I respect kind of what they're doing this year.
And especially now that you bring in a guy like that, they just got a lot more annoying to play against. He's a
Don't
big
count 'em
guy.
out.
He's physical. He's a menace in front of the net. And as we'll get to in a little bit, we know he likes to mix it up. But no, I love that Deneau one too. I mean, that's depth down the middle for the Canadiens. I think they're having a great year. They're definitely building something. I don't necessarily think they're Stanley Cup final bound like some other people do, but
They're building just like a Pulte home,
yeah, exactly. It is a little cookie cutter, just like Pulte Homes. But
Yeah.
let's go ahead and go over to the World Juniors. Always a great time of year. We love this tournament here on the show, so it's been a ton of fun to see get started. Love that it's in Mini this year. It's been really cool to see the turnout for Team USA at these, venues such as the Minnesota Wild Arena or 3M Mariucci Arena where the Gophers play. Caught the Canada-Czechia game, which was Canada's opening game at the tournament, and I think that's turning into one of the best up-and-coming rivalries in international hockey right now. I think Czechia has taken them out of the last 2 tournaments. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. But yeah, that was a feisty game to say the least. It was back and forth. It was intense. Went down to the third period being interesting. And then obviously, probably the moment we have to talk about, Porter Martone ices the game with an empty net and then gives a Czechia player a nice little love tap on the butt on his way on the bench flyby. So, all hell broke loose after that. He had to apologize. People were coming after him in the media. I thought it was ridiculous. I mean, probably don't want to be doing that. They penalized him for it. Let's just move on. But yeah, the Canadian media was not all that kind to him. That's for sure.
I mean, in general, I think the World Junior tournament, it's and I'm not necessarily criticizing. This is probably a good thing, if anything, but like the penalties and just the discipline overall is so under a microscope and so heavily policed, way more so. Like IIHF is way, I guess, for lack of a better term, way softer than like the
Yes.
NHL or any of the other like minor leagues even. So yeah, I mean, you'll see plays where you're like, oh, that should be like 2-minute roughing, and they're like, holy shit, this guy's getting a major penalty for that, or like just like what you say, something that would have just been laughed off in the NHL or maybe addressed next time those 2 teams played each other or something. Like it turns into this big dramatic ordeal. But it's kind of part of the fun too. You got young kids, and also to the point about discipline being a little more serious. You don't want these kids like getting hurt, and none of the teams that have them as prospects want them getting hurt either. So it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of guys getting hurt, Hope Cole Hudson is doing well. Took a puck to the back of the head that did not look good, but I've heard he's, discharged from the hospital and back with the team now. So T's and P's, he'll be ready to go for Team USA's upcoming game today, the day you guys are listening to this, against Sweden at 6. Nice little New Year's Eve matchup for everyone.
Yeah, and pretty cool to see like the team supporting him on the ice there, the little handhold photo that's going viral and the quote to go with it. You love to see stuff like that.
Definitely. Going over to USA for a second, 6-3 opening win against the Germans. They had a 2-1 nail-biting win over Switzerland. And then yesterday for us, a couple days ago for you guys listening to this, 6-5 roller coaster win over the Slovaks. Got behind 0-2 to start the game and then just dug in, didn't panic, and clawed their way back into it. Definitely some things to work on after that kind of game, but I do like a little bit of adversity early here in the round robin portion of this tournament before you get to the medal round. I thought they did a great job. Credit to Bob Motzko and that whole team of just not panicking, just going back to what they do, letting the game come to them a little bit, wait for their power play chances. I'd like them to stay out of the damn box. They were just on a parade to the box for the first, I would say, half of that game. But no, credit to all those guys. They dug in, and Will Zellers looks unbelievable right now. He's up there near the top in tournament scoring, and Riker Lee absolutely tore the roof off the net with one of the shots last night. So good to see one of the Sparty guys getting it done.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. I mean, obviously, there's stuff you could clean up in the game so far for USA, but there's also a lot to like. And just like you said, the only way you can look at this is hopefully this is the adversity that they have to face, and then it doesn't get any worse. If this is as bad as it gets and as sketchy as it gets, then that's a pretty cheap lesson to learn to still be undefeated and kind of almost screw up a couple times there and still have the best record in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Thomas Sharenko for Slovakia currently leads the tournament with 5 goals in 3 games, and then McKenna leads it in points with 7 points in 3 games. So those guys are on fire right now. Sweden looks pretty good. I think this is going to be a really tough test for the U.S. Their goaltending looks great. Anton Frondell looks awesome. I think he's a great pick for the Hawks. I mean, they're always so good. So it'll be really interesting to see how that matchup ends. And then not only that, but essentially that's just going to decide how the quarterfinals match up. So fingers crossed all goes well there. Best of luck to the U.S. boys in that game against Sweden.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of international stuff, we are rapidly approaching the release of the Olympic rosters. We will have them before you guys hear from us next. So Canada is scheduled to announce their men's hockey roster at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. That is today, the day you guys are listening to this podcast. And then the United States is going to announce all of them, the men, women, and Paralympic hockey rosters at 8 a.m. Eastern on Friday. So stay on the lookout for that. Mac, in your head, any major predictions for who gets on either of these teams or who is left off?
I am willing to solidify that Tom Wilson is a lock. I fully believe he'll be on the team, and I'd say the same thing about Logan Thompson. It sounds like our boys John Carlson and Jacob Chikrin are probably both going to get snubbed. Kind of a shame, but also happy to just keep those guys healthy for the Caps. We need them real bad.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like, we've seen some leaks over the last couple days. We're starting to categorize these as, confirmed hard leaks and soft leaks. So, Elliot Friedman was saying, I think that Macklin Celebrini should make Team Canada. Bedard apparently still on the fence. I guess somehow Jason Robertson is still on the outside of Team USA looking in. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but
Suzuki too, I think they said is in,
and that's a good move for Canada. I don't know how you could not take him. I think what we're hearing with Team USA is that it's probably going to be pretty damn similar to the Four Nations roster, and I don't know if that's necessarily a problem at all. So it'll be interesting to see. I think at this point, everyone's just ready. I feel like I'm getting asked every other day, when are we going to know? When are we going to know? And we've been saying that for 3 or 4 weeks now. So I think we're all ready. I know I am, and I hope you are too.
I'm very ready. It's like I've been saying this for weeks and weeks on this show. I'm tired of speculating. Let me see the damn roster.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should, since there's no NHL games on Christmas and there's no World Junior games on Christmas, I think you have to release these rosters on Christmas. Like that's
what they should have done.
a good
Yeah.
hockey present for us. Like pre-record a show on Christmas Eve on like NHL Network of them like unveiling the rosters,
That
and
would have been really fun.
like everyone can watch it Christmas morning or something.
Yeah, but the NHL is allergic to doing fun and smart shit like that.
True,
so.
good point. Or they would put like 30,000 commercial breaks that are NHL
Yep.
Network commercial breaks. So it's just the same 3 commercials over and over again.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about our not so performing great Washington Capitals. But before we do that, I think you have a word from our friends over at DraftKings, who are the proud sponsor of this episode.
The holidays are heating up on Pick 6, DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Make your NBA picks for a shot to win big cash prizes this holiday season. Here's how it works. Just choose more or less on 2 or more player stats. The more accurate your picks, the bigger your payout. It's the kind of upside you'll only find on Pick 6, not those other pick'em sites. And it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, and more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code THPN. New DraftKings customers can play just $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits with code THPN. Ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours.
Alrighty, Washington Capitals. So just some numbers here real quick. The Caps have lost 8 of their last 11 games. Not good. I would say that's very not good. What have you seen lately, Mac, that you're not that pleased with? I know we've got to see a couple games in person. We've gotten to watch a couple games over the holiday break on TV. So after we've had some time to digest what we've seen, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is the centers. And I don't really know like how to lay it out, because obviously we've been missing PLD for quite some time. I think that we were kind of doing okay for a little while there without him, but that may be part of what's catching up to us, part of why we're struggling. I also saw some stats about like goal scoring and just points from like our centers in the last handful, 10 to 20 games or so. And like Sortif, Strome, LaPierre, Dowd, all those guys, they're really just not like producing. That's not to say they're not playing well, but they're just not consistently scoring goals or notching apples. So that's probably my biggest concern. I'm not concerned with goaltending or D at all. I think it's more of like a scoring thing. It's more of like a putting complete games together. And I think really what it boils down to, is we got to get PLD back. And until we do, we're just going to be kind of a shell of the team we're supposed to be.
Yeah, I think we've seen some good glimpses here or there. I think Justin Sortif has really elevated his game, and you and I have talked about that throughout the year. But I agree. I would say finishing is a problem right now. Guys like, I love Connor McMichael. I love Dylan Strome. But, they're getting chances and high-quality chances, and, you just got to bury some of these, for lack of a better word. I feel like I'm missing a little bit of a killer instinct there, and not necessarily just picking on those 2 guys as a whole. But I think from what you and I saw, they're getting the looks, and they're at times moving the puck really, really well. I think, we've seen some games like you mentioned with just not putting a complete game together. Maybe passing is off, passing is late, passing is in the feet, which is my biggest pet peeve of all time. But and even guys like Alexei Protas, like I'd like to see a more consistent, put puck in net mentality from that kind of guy.
Yes, no, exactly. I'm trying to find this stat that I saw about the Caps centers. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh yeah, here we go. So Caps centers, this was as of, so this might be a little outdated, but this was as of yesterday around 1:45 Central Time. So this is before anything that happened in the Caps Panthers game.
Okay.
At that point, before puck drop there, Sortif 0 goals in last 15 games. Strome 2 goals in last 22 games. LaPierre 0 goals in his last 77 games. I'll talk more about that in a second. And Dowd 2 goals in his last 30 games. So you're talking about 4 goals from those 4, makeshift centers for now in their last whole bunch of games. The LaPierre thing, he is literally on a 77 game goalless streak that goes back to Yeah, I believe his last goal came on March 18th of 2024 versus Calgary.
Wow.
So that is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the longest. I'm pretty sure he recently broke the streak for longest Capitals player to go like an amount of games without scoring a goal.
Wow.
I want to say the guy before that was literally like Boyd Gordon or something like
Okay.
that.
So it had been a minute.
Yeah, but like also Boyd Gordon, like he did other things, it's not
True.
like that
That
was really what his job was anyway.
that is
So
a good point.
not surprising to hear that, but yeah, it's just I don't want to pick on the guy, but it's just something that something's got to give at a certain point. You and I have talked about it, but you can't have a guy. I mean, last season, 24-25 season, he played 27 games. So it's not like he played a whole season, but
Right.
0 goals in 27 games. Now, this year, including that Panthers game last night, he's now played 36 games. Um, and he doesn't have a goal. And then, yeah, to go back to that 23-24 season, he finished the season 0 goals in his final 15 games of that year. So that'll add up to 77, which now I think is 78.
It is not a good stat line for sure. I think it's 6 points on the year, six assists, no goals. So
Yeah.
you and I have discussed this. What do you think the solution is here?
I think you got to try to find a trade for this guy at this point. I don't think that it's worth trying to keep him around. I also don't think it's necessarily fair to just send him back to Hershey and say, all right, this guy's just a career AHLer. I mean, that may be the case, but I think it's early enough in the kid's career that he deserves a shot somewhere else. There's probably somewhere where he could get some more ice time, some more line chemistry with other players or something like that. So I'd be curious what he wants, but to me, if I were him, that's probably where my head would be at. Just get me a fresh look somewhere else. And obviously it's not like we're going to get a huge haul for him, but I would think with what he's done in the AHL and like just some of his like prospect like stats, you got to think someone would take a nibble and toss us something, or you could package them together in some kind of other deal. I don't know.
Do you think this could be, I totally agree with you, by the way. Do you think this could be maybe a deadline thing, maybe a before the deadline thing, or are we thinking this is an off-season type move?
I'd almost rather them do something now or soon to try and combat this lack of PLD, because he's not coming back until like pretty close to the playoffs. So
Yeah.
we would be smarter to probably address that sooner rather than later, I would think.
Yeah. And then it is frustrating when you consider, the 2 trades that were just made around the holiday season, and both of those guys could have really, shaken up the roster in a way that could have helped that situation.
Yep. I also have seen like rumblings that there was some quote, and I don't know how authentic it was, but it was something like the Capitals have said that they will be like as aggressive as possible to pursue like the top forward talent in the NHL or something like that, like whoever's available. So
Right. And that's
they're looking,
exactly
I guess.
what they said over the summer, and then didn't go get Nick Ehlers, which I'm not complaining about, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, and it seems like they tried, and you can only do so much if a guy wants to go play in fucking Raleigh instead of the nation's capital, but that's not my problem. But yeah, like they say that, and then you got guys giving up 2nd-round picks to get Mason Marchment, and it's like, well, we could have done that. I don't know.
Would have been happy to do that. And they've got the draft picks to do it because they always have those to spare.
Yeah.
Moving forward, the game last night against Florida, it is what it is. Bad officiating on both sides of the coin. That's a tough loss. It happens. You rip it up. You move on to the next one. Upcoming, they have the Rags again. Then they're in Ottawa, home against Chicago, Anaheim, and Dallas. That Anaheim one is going to be feisty. That one has been circled on people's calendars. I know yours and mine specifically for about 3.5 weeks now. So I'm very interested to see what the retaliation is like from the team. Do you think we'll get a good one, or do you think this will just be water under the bridge?
I think it'll be a good one. I can never tell when this actually like matters to these guys, and they're gonna like take a flyer on what happened last time, or they literally couldn't give less of a fuck and they're just gonna play hockey. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'd almost be more expecting like Leonard to take matters into his own hands more than I'd expect like Tom or Brandon to like go out there and do anything. I think if anything, he'll just be laying bigger hits than he normally would or something like that. But
I'd
yeah,
love to see him take a run at Troops. That would be awesome.
that would be funny.
Just don't get hurt. Keep your head up.
Yeah, that's right. But no, bunch of important games coming up. I'm excited for this Rangers Day game. Hopefully we can get a little bit of revenge on them there. The Chicago game, I always attend the annual Washington at Chicago game. I'll be at that one again this year. That'll be extra special for me this time around because that is the first game of the Capitals Mentors trip. And I'll actually be watching that game with my grandpa in the dad's suite. So
that is awesome,
a ton of
dude.
fun.
That is going to be a blast. I'm pumped for you to get to do that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the New York Islanders. Are they like just completely a fun and cool team now? Because now like we have Matt Barzal. Not only is he scoring goals, which he used to hate doing, now he's two-handing guys for taking a run at his teammate.
Old-time hockey, baby.
Just some classic Billy Smith old-time hockey. Like, I'm not going to hit you. I'm just going to use the weapon I have in my hand and just baseball swung.
It's kind of funny. I mean, like, I can't lie. It's a little funny.
He gets so I think he got tossed for doing that, and then $5 for doing it, and then got fined $5,000 on Monday for a two-hander to Mason Marchment. That was in retaliation to Marchment, kind of low blowing, going knee on knee with Isles rookie Matthew Schaefer. So good to see someone standing up to do it. I saw him get a lot of flack for people being like, "Drop the gloves, you know what?" But
I mean, yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, listen, I'm saying it's funny mostly because Marchment was fine, and also he didn't swing his head or anything. It was like it was like at his foot or some shit. So like whatever, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I do kind of agree. Like, I mean, I know Barzal's never going to drop the gloves. It's just that he's just not that player, and that's fine. But it is kind of funny to see like what different guys, what their reaction is. You know, there's other guys on that team that would have just dropped the gloves and knocked the guy out. But
yeah,
Barzal's just gonna, do the old lumberjack chop. So that's just his game.
It is hilarious though. I was watching that one live, and just the pure chaos that ensued from that was just it makes Islanders good hockey to watch. And
yeah, they have been fun. I gotta hand it to them.
Yeah, we can't really hate on that this year. Speaking of a team that is going to be really hard to hate on, I want to talk about the AHL for a second. And I want to talk about a team that is just running away with the AHL right now, and that is the Grand Rapids Griffins. If you don't know, they're the minor league affiliate of the Detroit Red Wings. So they lead the AHL standings, and they only have one loss altogether in 28 games played, which is unbelievable. Sebastian Cosa's leading the way between the pipes. Their top goal scorer, John Leonard, has been up with the Red Wings. We saw him torch the Washington Capitals 2 nights in a row. The back half of that being on their mom's trip, which was great, not for us. But and then they also have Detroit native Dominic Shine, who's second in scoring on the team. He's got 27 points in 23 games played. So it seems like the Yzer plan is working on both the NHL and AHL level, because last time I checked, I believe the Red Wings are leading the Atlantic Division, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, things are starting to look pretty good and make a little bit more sense over there. I've actually got a funny rapid story I can throw in here too. When I was flying back from Baltimore to Milwaukee on December 26th, day after Christmas, I land and I'm, I got my bags. I'm waiting outside to get my car to go home. And while I'm waiting for my ride, I see this guy with a hockey bag and sticks. And the hockey bag says Toledo Walleye, which is the ECHL team that goes up to the Griffins and then goes up to the Red Wings. And this kid's wearing a Griffins like baseball hat. And I was like, okay. Well, this guy's clearly getting called up to the Griffins because the Griffins were in town playing the Admirals that weekend.
Right.
So I tried to figure out who this guy was. I looked at all the social medias for like the Walleye, the Griffins, the Red Wings. I couldn't find a single thing saying like we've called up so-and-so. So I still don't know who the hell that was, but I saw some guy just, flying commercial by himself with his hockey bag, picked it up off the baggage carousel, just like any of us would pick up our suitcase, called himself an Uber, probably to like the practice arena or some hotel or something. And it's just funny, ECHL, you're
Yep.
it's no luxury. You're calling yourself an Uber, and maybe I'm sure it's paid for in some way or another, but yeah, it's just it was just funny to see him all by himself, and clearly just a guy getting called up to the AHL from the E.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope they pay for it. Those guys definitely deserve it. I mean, at least he wasn't having to ride the bus all the way there and take, like 45 hours on a bus trip or something. So
Right.
it is hilarious, though, when you do see those guys like having to go through the airport with, the hockey bag and the sticks and stuff. And, as someone I've taken surfboards and skimboards through the airport, and that is stressful enough. I can't imagine what I would be like if I was flying with my hockey sticks. I would be so anal retentive about that. So,
Yep.
I can't imagine like watching like the baggage crew just like huck your $300 hockey sticks like into the plane and just like watch like two of the shafts just completely splinter or something like that.
Smacking together. Yeah.
No, exactly. So hopefully all went well and he got his stuff there, and clearly they're doing something right. So whatever's cooking in Grand Rapids is totally working. What else was cooking in Grand Rapids this weekend was the Michigan State Spartans. They go back-to-back at the Great Lakes Invitational Tournament for, I think, the first time in like 20-some years. So even with a couple of their key players at the World Juniors right now in Porter Martone, Riker Lee, and I believe Eric Nilsson for Sweden as well. Yeah, good to see that team still chugging along. Augie and net, never going to be a bad thing. So gotta love that. Did you happen to catch the massive hit in the PWHL?
I did
during the holiday break.
I did. That was a fascinating clip, might I say.
Yeah. So check forward, Aneta Tedrolova just blew up Sarah Fillier coming through the neutral zone. I do want to say, and shout out to Tessa and Julia over at Jocks and Jills. Tessa made a great point here. Hospital pass. Absolute hospital pass.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. The hit was about a 1 Mississippi and a half late, and it was high. It was right to the head.
Yeah, and they just don't hit at all. So any kind of hit.
Open ice hitting, totally not allowed in the PWHL. I think this was in retaliation to a hard hit along the wall. And, we saw Fillier come back. I'm glad she's doing well. But, oh my goodness, that was, you got blown up.
It is wild how, like, in that league, they're basically not allowed to just full on, hit each other like that. But, like, occasionally you'll just see a player be like, I'm just going to. Like, I'm just going to, and I know I'm going to get a penalty. And, whatever bad blood is between the players, something's causing it, that they're just like, no, I know the rules, but I'm fully just going to lay this chick out. Like,
I love it. I think it's awesome.
I'm dying to go to a PWHL game. I'm guessing I would have to go to Minnesota. That's probably going to be the easiest route for me. But I'm dying to get my hands or get my eyes on this league in person. It's been electric to watch the highlights this year.
Yeah, I know they're coming to DC at some point, I think in mid-January, so I'm going to do my best to be there. I'm still working on getting tickets right now, but that looks like it'll be a ton of fun, so hoping that all works out. I do love when they just run each other against the wall, so I think they can have contact on the boards. I think it's mainly open ice that they don't do the hitting thing in, so they will absolutely take a run at each other on the boards in front of the net, just like any other hockey game. Is just complete open season per usual, which you love to see. And I think it's great. I really hope that, DC gets a PWHL team at some point and has like a good name that's not like the Capitals or something like that. But I think it would be great, especially if we could work out some sort of like NBA, WNBA style, helping out program, share program here. I think that would be great. I think it's been great to see the support that the NHL has given, and hoping to see that continually increase here.
Yep. No, I completely agree.
Let's go ahead and wrap up with some trivia, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Mac, what do you got for me?
All right, so you may have seen this post, so hopefully it's not too easy for you, but we're going to talk World Juniors here. Nice. In theme of the episode. I want you to name for me the 5 teams with the most the 5 NHL teams with the most players in the World Juniors, and then the 3 teams that have nobody represented at the World Juniors.
Ooh, that is good. So 5 with the most.
There's one team with 8 players, one with 7, and then there's 3 teams that are tied with 6 players.
So I think the Caps have 6. I think they're one of them.
6. They are one of the top 5.
This is gonna be tough. Let's go with the Hawks. I feel like they have a bunch.
The Hawks only have 3.
Damn. Give me the San Jose Sharks.
Sharks have 5.
Damn.
So just outside the top 5.
Okay, let's go with the Calgary Flames.
Flames have 2.
Damn it. I wish I could say the Penguins didn't have anyone there, but I know they do have people there.
Only 2.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to turn out to have a bunch, but does Seattle have no one there?
Seattle has 4. They're like right in the middle.
Okay.
2 of the teams that have no one, it's like funny because everyone kind of hates these 2 teams.
Okay. So the Leafs?
No, they have 2, but that's a fair guess based on what I said.
Okay. Let's go with the Florida Panthers.
No, the Panthers have 2 as well.
Okay. Hurricanes.
Yes, the Hurricanes have 0.
Okay. And Vegas.
Vegas also has 0. There's one more team with 0. Nobody really hates this team because they're just, who cares?
The St. Louis Blues.
No, but, you're kind of on the right track. More like the Blues of the Eastern Conference.
Okay. The Blue Jackets.
Yes, that's right. Okay,
Nice.
So the teams with 0, you got Carolina, CBJ, Vegas. The top 5, you got the Caps. You need 2 more teams that have 6, 1 team that's got 7, and 1 team that has 8 players there.
8 players. I'm trying to think who's drafted really high recently. Are the Boston Bruins up there?
Nope, they're 3rd. They have 3 players.
Okay. Philly?
Philly has 6. They're
Okay.
tied with us, so they're in that top 5.
Let's go with Ottawa.
Sens only have 1 guy.
Wow. Give me the Buffalo Sabres.
Buffalo got 4.
Damn, just outside. Jersey.
Jersey has 1. All right,
Okay.
I'll give you some hints here. So
Please.
you need 1 team with 6, 1 with 7, 1 with 8. The team with 8, you were saying they must have drafted well. They have a very smart general manager who is held in high regard by us and many Caps fans.
Ooh. Nashville.
Correct. Nashville has 8 players at the
Wow.
World Juniors. The team with 7, I'm trying to think of a good hint that wouldn't just totally give it away right away. It's funny because their NHL team is pretty young and like up and coming. So you wouldn't necessarily think like their World Juniors guys would also be like right at the top, but yeah, sure enough, they've got 7.
Detroit.
No, but sort of similar.
Montreal.
No, Detroit and Montreal both have 5 though, for the
Okay.
record.
East or West?
West. Both the teams you need are West. The other West team that has 6, we both kind of fuck with this team, and we keep picking them to do good things in
LA.
playoffs. Yeah.
Okay.
But the 7, all right, that's the last one. The 7 is what you got to get here.
Is it Colorado?
No, but you're getting closer in terms of like the region.
Mini.
No, you're getting farther now.
Utah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. All right, so to recap, Nashville, 8 players, Utah, 7 players, LA, Philly, Washington, 6 apiece, Carolina, CBJ, VGK, nobody.
Wow.
Kind of interesting.
That sucks that they have no one. I mean, not
It's
for
really,
us.
It's really funny.
It's like, I mean, that's.
I guess I feel kind of bad for the Blue Jackets, but it's really funny that Vegas and Carolina has no one. It also kind of makes sense because all they do is trade all their fucking prospects.
Yeah. They just trade draft picks for people that are good now.
Yeah.
Damn. That was a good one.
Yep.
I could have done better on that, but oh well.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Holidays were long. Let's put it that way.
You got the Caps right away. You know our guys.
Exactly. Yeah, I was combing through. I think I sent you that 2024 Caps draft class the other day. Before we wrap up, I just want to read that out because I think this is criminally underrated where some of these guys went. So, Caps 2024 draft. First round, they get Tarek Parasak out of the PG Cougars in the WHL. That's 17th overall. Second round, they get Cole Hudson, 43rd. How that guy fell to 43rd, I have insane idea out of BU. Also in the second round, 52nd, Leon, the great Googly Moogly. So that's awesome. I mean, I've watched him play for that Swiss team. He is going to be a legitimate NHL shutdown defenseman throughout his career. Third round, 75th overall, Ilya Protas, who is just destroying the American Hockey League. Like, it's not even like hard. Third round, Eriks Matejko, who's playing for Latvia right now, 90th overall, and I think he lit up the tournament last year. Fourth round, Nick Kempf, who is the second goalie on the United States team right now and playing at Notre Dame. They got him 114th overall. Sixth round, Peter Sikora, no relation, is playing on the Czech team right now, 178th, and he is playing over in the Czech League and killing it. And then 212th overall, the Antichrist Jr. himself, Miro Shatan Jr., baby.
Yep. I love that pick. I love that. We're so good at drafting.
They really are, and they don't get enough credit for that. Because everyone just goes like, oh, you traded away Philip Forsberg. I'm like, yeah, though they also wouldn't have been able to pay Philip Forsberg, but that's fine.
We're also just the gold standard for goaltending, like for raising and like breeding our own goaltenders and then like having them be starters all over the NHL. We're so good at that.
It is amazing to see like how many guys come up through the Cap system as goalies and then go start somewhere else or just go somewhere else and have a legitimate career.
Yep.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Varley, Grubes, Nuvi.
Halak.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't raise him, but like there's so many goalies that like either pass through or start in Washington that end up starters for a long time in the league.
Definitely. It is a very real thing. That about does it for us here. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff, love social media. Got anything else before we wrap up?
Have a happy new year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Go Team USA. Hopefully we got some good news for you guys in the next episode.